Hello. Today we're gonna do a little something different. I decided to do some damage testing as well as just kind of write down some numbers. This is like on such a surface base level that I wouldn't take this super like serious or word of law, but I've been having this conversation with like a ton of warriors and other players that just believe that crit crystals are irrelevant or that they're not as helpful, especially on a class like warrior. And I decided to go ahead and take my boy Frankie into the BA, and we was just like, you know what, let's just test these numbers. Let's see what we can do, what we can find out, and what the difference is between the damage. The setup for these tests was very simple. We used our 100% crit abilities. So it's like Ankle Break is the ability that is our primer for our Pulverize and Tempest damage. So what you do essentially is you use Ankle Break, which will result in a bound that's apparently getting changed at some point in time, but that's for a whole different separate video. But for the most part, you will use Ankle Break one tick, and then that will bound your opponent, and then it will give you 100% critical hit rate with any ability. So the follow-up we used was Pulverize Tempest, which is our core damage finisher for most things. So we use this as our testing bench for the numbers and just kind of seeing what the HP pool would be at the end of each combo. So we did this a number of times where I would use Ankle Break once and then go into Pulverize Tempest, and then we turned off the fairies, we turned off all the like extra garbage, so that way we could accurately represent the numbers. Because sometimes if you have your fairies on, what will happen is that your fairy will tick at a certain time, and then it will actually like result in less damage, or it's not necessarily less damage, but like the fairy ticks at the right moment where it appears that it's less damage, but it's actually just getting healed at a certain time, which is why you should never have your fairy at 100%, because that's like a super big thing. I mean, I feel like that's been known for years, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, pretty much that we're testing Pulverize Tempest with the Ankle Break 100% crit to see that if 20% crit will do more damage or not. And it's not really so much as a question of like, will it do more damage? Because obviously it's going to do more damage. That's just what the crystal is designed to do. But the question is, how worth it is that crystal? Is it worth bringing like down less tankiness? Is it worth like adding the extra damage? We talk about this later in the video, but I just wanted to give you guys the setup and kind of understanding as to what the context is to this whole video. But hopefully you guys enjoy it, and if you have anything to add, feel free to. Okay, so then the damage numbers that we have so far: 5.7, 5.8, and 6k with fairies on. And then we did the crit version, which was 5.3, 5.1, and 4.9k HP, and that's with fairies on. And then we did a second test without crit crystals, 5.5, 5.3, and 5.9k HP, and that was with fairies on again. So this one we're gonna do without fairies. The numbers, Mason, what do they mean?
All right, we're looking at a 5.36. I can get like real accurate with it.
I'm just gonna put 5.3. No crit. All right, we'll do that one. So it's 5.3. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty comparable to the one with crits, but then again, we'll have to do that test again because that one was with the fairy on. So there might have been a tick. There might have been an uptick on that. So 5.3, no fairy. What was that
5.15.
5.1. Okay. Okay, and then we'll do the last one, and then we'll swap to the crit crystals. That's with, yeah, okay, I was double checking, making sure. Yeah, these are no crit crystals at all.
Uh, 5.15. Yeah.
Really? Okay, so 5.3 to 5.1 is pretty consistent. That's no crit crystals, no fairy. Okay, so this one's going to be with crit crystals, and no fairy. Write that down. Let me make sure I have this fucking recorded right. All right, now we swap to the crit build. All right, this is basically the same crystals, except we have 20% crit now. Oops, I don't think I hit that one.
I got down smashed. I'm gonna say that yeah, something happened where I got down smashed and like flopped away from the damage, bro.
Yeah. I think that one we don't count that. I feel like that's a little
That I feel
slower.
like that's
Yeah.
kind of weird. That might have been something we should have taken into account. Like I'm pretty sure that's what just occurred because I didn't really get hit very hard. I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
That was a little weird. Good thing during the no crit no
Goodness.
fairy run, I don't think we got any down smashes on that one,
Oh
so we're
yeah, but
fine.
that definitely just occurred right there. Like I like flopped away from you. We're
Okay.
looking at 476.
4-7. Wow, that's actually like 400 fucking HP difference. All right, here we go.
Oh, 5.1.
5.1.
5.12.
5.1. Okay. Man, the 4-7 was a nasty fucking hit. I wonder what changed the difference on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say too that I thought the damage on that one was gonna be bad compared to that next one, because I felt like you glitched past me. Okay, that one's
So
4.8.
the down smash happened there, but the damage didn't miss, right? That was
No, I
4-8.
mean it did 4.8.
4-8. Why? So, what the fuck is that damage difference? Is so weird. From 4-7 to 5-1 to 4-8. Is it like a distance thing?
Maybe.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stand right on top of you. I'm curious.
You know, Collision threw me on the first one where it did like good.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
was.
funny. I was like, oh, it's gonna do bad damage, but no, it did
Yeah,
good damage.
yeah. That's why I thought that was weird. Okay, so we have 4-7, 5-1, and 4-8 with crit crystals. So I'm gonna do like just up. I'm gonna do like distance here. So
5.2.
what was the damage? 5-2. Yeah, see that's
5.2.
shit. That's shit.
Yeah.
Like that was the worst one. About right here. What was the number on that?
That was really bad. 5.5.
Oh, that's fucking terrible. What the hell?
I don't know. I felt like maybe there was something going on with the. I want to say elevation bar, but we came over here to the flat land. I don't know what to say at that point.
Yeah, it's like I don't think it's the elevation. I feel like it's just like something weird, like the modifier or FPS.
It's just, it's like you know how you get like
what's the numbers?
That one was 4.4, by the way.
4-4. What the fuck?
Yeah, but you know how you get like the hit stun and you can hear it, the little like the little noise animation that it's like I heard it like not even connect on the hits type shit, and it didn't do as much damage. And then that one, it felt like all the hits connected, did fucking drop me to 4.4. Like I don't know.
It's so fucking. I mean, 4-4 is pretty crazy. That's the best number we've had recorded is 4-4, and that's with the crit crystals. No fairy. That's kind of crazy.
5.1. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
These numbers are so different.
Yeah. Like it's so with the no fairies that we've got recorded. So the no crit, no fairy is 5-3, 5-1, 5-1. That was the 3 that we did, and we did about 4 or 5, maybe 6 runs of the crit crystals with no fairy. 4-7, 5-1, 4-8, 4-4. But for some reason, I'm gonna switch real quick and just go back to the no crit crystals. I'm curious if the crit crystals create inconsistency in the damage, because I feel like that's because like the no crits were consistent. 5-3, 5-1.
I don't think the crystals are caught, bro. I don't think the crystals cause. I think that's just the game, bro. I think the game's just dog shit. That time I got down smashed really hard, but it only did 5.6. But it's like I was saying, I felt like the damage didn't really connect or something, and it didn't do. I don't know. Yeah. It didn't do that much.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird.
They removed the heal off of Overwhelm. I forgot about that. Yeah, I kind of remember it now, but yeah, they removed the heal off of Overwhelm. I'm gonna stop overwhelming.
Oh, they fucking did. What the hell? I didn't even know that.
I don't know why, but whatever. Gotta keep warrior balanced, man. Can't let it get out of hand.
Yeah, everybody knows that the reason we weren't dying was because we had an overwhelm heal.
5.3.
5.3. That's the same as. That's the same one. It was 5.3. 5.3. That's no crit, no fairy.
So I think like this is just, I don't know. Man. I think maybe slashing isn't the problem. It's just the game. That's 5 even.
5 even. It's pretty good.
5K.
So what I'm gathering from this is like there is a difference, or there is a pretty noticeable difference with the crit crystals. We're looking at the lowest numbers that we got was like 4-4 off of some random insane, like the damage just hit
connecting. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
all the hits
like
landing
just
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like just connecting issues. Like I'm assuming like that's what
That's
it
what I
is.
feel.
But like,
That's what I feel like it is. I don't know. It's like I can even hear it. I can hear it in the audio, bro. You know, like it sounds like it's just like less hit stun is occurring. You know, like there's a little noise that occurs with like hit stun and collision. I feel like it's like more deaf or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so weird because it's like I mean, it could be, but it's like when trying to figure out whether or not a crystal is worth it, because the crystals are massive, right? Because we're either trading out a little bit of extra damage. It's like the damage has to be worthwhile, right? Because we're melee class, we need to be tanky and have damage, so the damage has to be worth it to swap out like tankiness. So this feels weird because the numbers are okay. Like we were going from no crit 5-3, 5-1, 5-1, 5-3, 5k HP to crit crystals 4-7, 5-1, 4-8, and 4-4, which is like, that is a pretty noticeable difference. We're talking, you know, like 700 HP differences to 1,000 HP difference almost.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like that, like at most 1,000. At minimum, like maybe
so like the best
500.
So the best number we hit with no crit crystals is 5k, right? And then the best number we hit with the crit crystals is 4.4. So that is a 600 HP difference on a 20% crit chance, which is accurate. That's about right. So, and if we go from the highest point at 5-3, so if we do like 5,300 HP and then, you know, we go down to 4-4, I mean, we're looking at like what, fucking 900 HP difference pretty much, which is that's big. That could be the determining factor whether or not somebody dies.
Yeah, I feel like you got to compare like the max and the min of the crit and the non-crit though. It's like you can't compare. You gotta like be like, what was the max on non-crit versus crit, and what was the min?
Yeah, so the max on
non-crit.
So the max on the no crit no fairy was 5-3. That was the max. The min was 5 flat, and then the crit crystals with no fairy, the max was 5-1, and then the min was 4-4.
Oh, that's kind of dramatic. Honestly.
Yeah, it's actually pretty dramatic. So crit crystals definitely are huge, and I think it depends on scenario. Because like if you're playing a role that is not meant to like get a shit ton of kills, like if you're in a large scale setting and you're surrounded by archers, meta classes, and just classes that are going to kill shit better than you, crit crystals don't make any sense. Like I would never run that shit. Like since we're in sacred, right, it makes no sense for me to run that because I'm just gonna get my shit jacked by some archer blindly firing into a crowd of people. Yeah. So like
that's what I was thinking. It's like, who cares about a little, like I get it, you know.
Yeah, so like,
it's like when you need to just survive. Like,
yeah, exactly. But however, on the other side of the fence, if you're in a small scale thing, like small, like 3v3s or some shit like that, and maybe even 1v1s, that crit crystal could be the determining factor whether or not you can actually one combo somebody out or not. So in that scenario, yeah, that makes more sense because you can still be tanky and have that extra damage on top of it. So I think based on your scenarios, the crit crystal can be super fucking juiced and then super fucking useless. It really just depends on what you are doing. In large scale, I would never use crit crystals. It just, I'm not the star of the show when I'm in this guild. It's not possible for warrior to be the guy in this guild because we're filled with like meta classes and people that have juiced AP and like all kinds of shit. So it's just like me trying to out frag the meta classes in this guild that have a lot of gear and talent. It's not going to happen. So I'm better off being more tanky and playing for a decent KD and PO class like warrior. So I'd rather be tankier in this shit, to be honest. So glad that's settled. All right, fucking crit crystals, goodbye, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. The crystals aren't going anywhere. But like, yeah, that's actually kind of crazy that the damage is actually so dramatic.
Yeah, I mean,
because like people think that like it was useless. That they actually believe that it was useless. Like they're like, oh, 20% crit, that's fucking nothing. It's like, no, it's actually,
I mean, is it
it's
Warrior
noticeable.
saying this? Is it
Yeah,
warriors?
it's definitely like there's some warriors that are actually saying that shit, that they believe that
Yeah,
the crit
that's where
crystals aren't
I feel
worth
like
it.
I've heard it from other classes for sure, but it's like, man, the one class that's just like, I feel like, I'm sure other classes have high crit rate and stuff, but it's like, bro, we got 100% on fucking everything.
Yeah, if your class
So,
is a class that has 100% crit on 90% of its abilities, then like I feel like you just kind of are obligated to run those crystals no matter what in terms of your class role. Like Zerker, everything on Zerker is 100% crit too. If you're not running crit crystals, you're fucking
okay,
throwing,
yeah.
right? Like that, like it's Mando. You have to run that
And,
shit.
and I'm not, I'm not even saying like it means that you have to run it. I'm just saying like it means that if the crystal was made for somebody, it was made for that your class type shit, Shit.
Yeah, like if you're playing like I don't know some other class that doesn't have a lot of like damaging abilities that have 100% crit,
Not,
then
yeah,
you
don't
probably
have
don't need
crit
that
rate.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would have imagined.
So that probably makes the most sense. Yeah, it just really like if you don't believe that your class is supposed to have like 100% crit, or like you might be confused on whether or not like the 100% crit, the 20% crit. If you think like your class is fucking like struggling or some shit, and you need to like figure out how can I get more damage, especially if it's a DPS class that's supposed to be fragging like Archer or some shit, then like all you gotta
Right,
do is
yeah.
just like just
I
test
feel like
in the
they would
BA or
already
something
have
and
a
just
corrupted in for sure, though. Like, what?
yeah, it's like it's mandatory. You have to. Like if you're not running a corrupted on
You're
a
an
fucking
archer.
Archer, like that's probably crazy talk. Like that. Like I don't even know if Archer has the 100% crit like that because I don't play the class, but like I can only imagine that it probably does. I
They
mean,
probably run
also
anything that is damage, right? That's
yeah,
probably.
I feel like that's like the go-to is like they're running
Why
like
would you run
everything that
anything
does
that's
damage.
not possible? It's like maybe they run a Hate. I don't know. That'd
Yo,
probably be it.
let me find an Archer that's running a Hate crystal. Yo, that
I
shit's crazy.
mean, I don't
They're
know.
getting
It's like
G kicked immediately.
it's not like completely useless for them, right?
No, I don't think so. But like, it's still funny as hell if that's what they're running. But in general, it seems like the crit crystals actually, like, I mean, who would have guessed? Yeah, they do make a difference, but they're, it depends on your class. It
Uh,
depends on the role that you're playing in whatever scenario. If you're in small scale and you're like the CC'er or some shit, or the tank, maybe you don't want to run these. But in general, though, from just the data that we have, again, it's small pool testing and not even like anything serious, but just from casually testing numbers out and seeing things, the crit crystals definitely have a place in the game, and they definitely have a place for certain classes. But if you just look at it from like the blank spectrum of like, okay, well, am I gonna fucking use this crystal in this large scale 30v30 GVG or some shit? Yeah, probably not on a warrior specifically. You're probably not gonna find a lot of use out of it because you're not gonna fucking 100-0 somebody, especially like Eva memes or like high level like tanky classes or some shit. You're probably not gonna notice it, and because you're not gonna get a chance to care. So it's better to just be tanky, peel for people, and it's not like the non crit like build is bad. It's still good damage. I mean, at a max 5-3 and at the lowest 500 like 5k, that's pretty good. That's a pretty nice damage drop. And what's the max HP you're sitting at?
7-4.
Yeah, like 7-4 to 5,000 at the minimum. Like that's that's pretty juiced. Like you're talking like a shit ton of damage, and that's off of what? That's ankle break, pulverize, tempest. That's 2 abilities. That is 2 abilities.
Yeah,
So in the grand scheme of
essentially.
things, like no crits, it's not like that's bad either. You're like, yes, it is less damage, but it's not bad either. You're still gonna kill people with that shit. It's not gonna be, you're not going to be disappointed by that shit, so it's not that bad. So in the end, really just depends on your scenario. If you think it's worth it, fucking run it. If you think that like you need more tankiness, forget it. 20% crit, let it go. You'll still kill people, but now you have a lot more tankiness, because reaching retarded DR brackets as a warrior is really, really beneficial for us. It's really big. So
Yeah.
that's a big thing, especially on console where DR brackets are really, really hard to reach because we're missing artifacts and a ton of other things. So being able to have both damage and DR brackets is kind of nice on low key. So
Yeah, and the other thing I really like about being tanky too is that when it's like you're getting comboed and it's like the damage is being split. It's like you're always the guy who lives. It's like the guy next to you dies, but you live.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you get to
It's like,
stand
what the
up, but
fuck?
like the two other guys next to you, they died like they had died, way earlier.
Yep. So that's where I'm at with that. Crits are cool. I'd probably run them in like small scale 1v1s and like just 3v3s or something, like something super tiny where I can actually like frag out and be like the star of the show. But if I'm in like a 30-man ball GVG or Node War Siege, whatever, like, yeah, forget these crit crystals. There's no shot. I'm just
No,
wasting tankiness. It's not worth it.
yeah, it has to do with being in sacred, bro. It's like it just made me realize that that's kind of just like the whole thing of sacred, right? It's like if everyone can just survive, somebody will peel for you, So it's like just live, and you'll be fine, type shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's also a giant factor too, is like the guild that you're in. If you're in like a super low tier guild and they're like struggling and they don't know how to really play with each other, there's barely any like synergy and stuff like that, you're probably going to be super pissed off that like, you don't have that extra tankiness, because if you're just getting blown the fuck up, or like you can't survive a little bit of damage and nobody's going to peel for you anyway, it's like, well, at that point, fuck it. Doesn't matter what you run. Your
Yeah,
guild
you
sucks
have
and
to be
nobody's feeling.
right.
Yeah,
But
you
in a
have to
guild
be
like
you have to be
this,
the guy.
yeah, in a guild like it's the complete opposite. It's like if you
Yeah,
just survive, there will be somebody to kill the guy coming after you. There will
yeah,
be.
exactly. There's enough talent in like, if your guild's super talented and they actually have people with a brain and they're paying attention, they're peeling, they're like doing all kinds of crazy shit, then like it's so beneficial to have that tankiness, because then you're giving just them a giant window to like fucking clean up shit.
Yeah, and it has more to do with we have the capable people, and then on top of that, they're not busy. It's not like we're getting outmanned in terms of skill or something. It's not like some guy who can take on five shitters has to fight some other guy that can, no, it's just like he just gets to fight the five shitters, you know? And so it's like if there was a challenge, it might not be so much like that, but there is no challenge. Like
So that's a different perspective. So overall, I'm glad I did the test though. I was super curious about most of this stuff and like whether the crit crystals were worth it or not. And I mean, I had a feeling. I was like, yeah, of course they're worth it. And under the right scenario, I was like, you could just say, yeah, they're really good. They do a lot more damage. But if you don't think about it in retrospect to the scenario that you're using them in, it's like it could be detrimental more or less than actual helpful. So really, in the grand scheme of things, just like take a look at what the fuck you're doing.